Hey everybody, welcome to another video. Today is going to be part number 2 in a couple of videos which I've done where I attempted to repair a infinite boot loop cycle on a PS5. So just for the TLDR, the PlayStation 5 that I was working on in this video was a PlayStation 5 motherboard only, which I purchased from eBay. I can't remember off the top of my head how much I paid for that board, but essentially I bought a board off eBay which was faulty. It come from Israel and it had an infinite boot loop cycle where it would load up, it would attempt to boot, but then it would drop into safe mode, and the only option that I could select in safe mode was reinstall PS5 software. So every time I did that, I tried to reinstall the software using USB. I knew the USB was good and that it was a working copy of the reinstallation software directly from PlayStation, and it was the latest version of the software as well. So I knew there was no issues there. Now, when I attempted to install it, it would get to something like 4%, and then it would shoot right the way up, reboot, and go straight back into safe mode. So I could not get it to boot at all. Couldn't get the software loaded, couldn't do anything with the console. So the first thing I tried was to replace the SSD controller, because it appeared as though the SSD was working, but it wasn't working properly. So I attempted to replace the SSD controller for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 was to try and fix the issue, and reason number 2 was to see if the SSD controller was paired to the board in any way through hardware serialization. It's a little trick that a lot of console companies are using, mentioning no names, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. Sorry, but yeah. It's a little trick that a lot of companies are using. Apple does the same. There's so many companies out there that do this, and they prevent us from repairing these devices because they want us to buy a new one. So yeah, what I did was I replaced the SSD controller, and if you haven't watched that video yet, I highly recommend checking that one out. I'll leave a link in the top corner now, and also I'll leave it in the top pinned comment. So word of warning, there's going to be a spoiler right now. So in 3, 2, 1, spoiler alert. That was a success. So we successfully managed to replace the SSD controller, and the console reinstalled and it fixed the issue. So that was great. But we wanted to take it one step further, because a lot of the stuff on this channel is about research and finding out what we can get away with in terms of repair, and also figuring out the things that no one else is willing to show. So I took it one step further and I wanted to replace the SSD chip itself. So although that I wanted to replace the entire bank of 6, but I wanted to try it off with 1. So that's what this video is going to be about. This was live streamed over on Twitch, and this, like I said, is the second part of that video. So I'm not going to spoil this video, but basically in this video I'm going to be attempting to replace the SSD. I already know the result, so I'm going to keep it sealed, and yeah, hopefully you enjoy the video. But if you are new to the channel and you freaking flies, get away. People keep saying that those flies and stuff are orbs. Stop it, dudes. It's flies, alright? I'm a messy technician. There's a fly in here. Yeah, anyway. It's not orbs, it's dust and flies, okay? It's a working environment. Orbs are not real. But anyway, that's in my opinion, by the way. But anyway, what was I saying? I've lost my train of thought now. Yeah, if you are new to the channel and you like this type of content, I would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and turn on the bell notifications. That way you don't miss any future videos. And if you do want to support me, this kind of stuff does cost money. Doing research and development into... Research and development? Just research, no development. But if you do want to support me, if you want to help me to pay for this sort of stuff, I have killed quite a few boards in my quest to find out what we can do and what we can't do, so it does cost money. If you want to support me for free, you can head over to Twitch and become a Twitch Prime subscriber. If you've got an Amazon Prime account, or a family member or a friend has got a Prime account that they're not using on another Twitch account, then ask them if you can use it and go over there and subscribe to me by linking an Amazon Prime account. It massively helps. It really does. It's only $2.50 for every person that does it, but it still helps massively, and I really do genuinely appreciate it. There's also a Patreon link in the video description. There's links to channel merch. There's also direct donation links, you know, crypto links, all the stuff, loads of ways to support me. If you do want to support me, I do genuinely appreciate it. Someone actually donated £280, roughly £280 worth of Ethereum yesterday. I don't know who it was because obviously it's all private, but to that person, if you're watching, massive, massive thank you. Really do appreciate it. But with that being said, let's get into this repair. We do know now that the SSD controller isn't married, and it doesn't ban you online either. But we don't know if the actual chips themselves are married. I can't see how there would be. Maybe I've just got really unlucky and the chips that I've used in the past are what's actually failed on the other boards. Maybe. How will Sony know if an account has changed SSD controller anyway? It's probably serial numbers on the chips themselves. If it doesn't work, go back to what is working. Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, it's a risk. There's a risk in everything we do, right? But, you know, do I attempt it for science? We need to know, don't we? We need to know 100% whether or not. Well, we need to push what we do to the limits. Because these SSDs have got a finite amount of lifespan. The lifespan, they are, from the moment you buy these consoles, they're dying. They are slowly dying from the moment you buy them. Every console with an SSD that isn't replaceable is dying. Like, it's one of them things. So, essentially, just like with any other SSD, you've only got a certain amount of writes. Normally, it's around about, I think it's 100 times the size, or it might be 10, or yeah, I think it's 100 times the size of the drive. So if this is an 825 gig SSD, like the TBW for this, the terabytes written, would be something like 825 terabytes. So it could probably read. I'm assuming I haven't looked into it. I haven't actually Googled, you know, the exact specs of the chips, but normally it's around about, I think it's around about 100 times the total size. So the total size for the SSD, or for the total size, the total terabytes that's able to be written, would probably be around about 800, either 80 or 800 terabytes. It might be 80 terabytes, I don't know. So they are slowly dying, and when you think the average game is around about 70 to 100 gigabytes these days, every time you download a game and then delete it and then reinstall another game over the top of it, you're killing your drive. They need to be replaceable. They won't make them replaceable. Well, I've replaced the SSD controller. I've just done that. But there's the old, just so you know, I haven't just dropped the other controller back on. There's the old controller. So that controller is dead. Like that controller's dud. It's got to be, because if it wasn't, then it wouldn't have accepted an update when I replaced it. So that controller must be dead, right? You reckon raw data's married? You think? You don't know that the donor SSD is okay? Well, that's the problem. Yeah, you don't. Stuff it. Right, this is the same board that controller come off. We need to know how far we can push these things. I'd do it, just can't afford the parts. Me neither, mate. Me neither, but now we know that the SSD controllers are replaceable. So to me, that is a huge win on its own. This stream is absolutely 100% a success. But now I just want to know if it's going to be fully replaceable. I do. I need to know. For my own sake, for my own sanity, I need to know. Start selling SSDs on your shop. I'll sell some SSD controllers, definitely. I'll sell some pre-bought SSD controllers. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, definitely. I will list some SSD controllers now that I know that they're replaceable. But yeah, now I'm going to try, just for my sanity, I'm going to try replacing the SSD itself. I'm going to do them one at a time, so I don't get them wrong in terms of orientation. In fact, no, I can just line them out on the desk.
no matter what, you will have to reinstall the whole system. Whether you replace 1, 3, 5, 6, whatever, you're going to have to reinstall it. We know from previous generations that the software is not changeable. So on the PS4, you couldn't just take out a hard drive, put in a hard drive from a different console and have it work and boot up. So no matter what, we're going to have to change the whole, we're going to have to reinstall the operating system. That's fine, I don't mind that. I just want to know if the SSD is paired. So I'm going to try it with one. I'm going to try one to start with. I'll try one of the back ones. Not the same stencil as the other ones. This is an actual SSD stencil, but we're going to use this one. So what I'll do then, I'll start off by replacing that one chip there and see if it boots. See if it turns on with that one chip. And if it does, then we know. Because it's pointless reboarding 6 if I only need to reboard 1 to find out. So I'll start with that one chip. I don't think if it's going to work, I reckon it'll work with just one, to be honest. Yes, you would need to reformat it, but yeah, no hand reboot allowed. It wouldn't take long on these actually for a hand reboot. But yeah, you would need to format it. Yeah, I get that, but you're going to need to format it anyway. So it's pointless doing 1 if it's pointless doing 6 if I can get away with 1. I just don't see any point. Because I mean, if you think how quick this is going to be to reboard just 1, you know, it's going to take me 5 minutes to reboard this. It's going to take me 30 to do 6. Well, 30 to 40 minutes to do 6. So we'll see what we can get away with. Because let's say, for example, we can replace it, right? It's going to be much cheaper for any technician, well, any customer really, to have 1 chip replaced rather than having 6. So if 1's replaceable, yes, I would lose the data, but they're going to lose the data anyway if your SSD is dead. So no matter what, they would lose the data, but that's not a problem anyway, because obviously you get everything backed up to the cloud if you've got PlayStation Network anyway. But it's going to be much cheaper to buy 1 chip than it is to buy 6. Right, which one do we need? We need, I believe it's that one.
Penfold 1012 just subscribed on Twitch.
Yeah, it's that one. Penfold, thank you. And Davey boy, I'm not sure if I said thank you to you as well, but I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so that's the stencil we need. Let me just clean that. Yeah, let's see if we can give another middle finger to Sony tonight, shall we? Because if these are replaceable, Sony are probably laughing. Ah, a bunch of dickheads that think it's not replaceable, but it is. Sony are probably laughing at us right now. And they'd be laughing even harder if they realise that we're reboarding 6 chips when we only need to reboard 1. So, see if we can laugh in the face of Sony. Just cleaning my stencil. That bit of solder on there is fine. It doesn't matter. We're using solder paste anyway. So that is absolutely fine. It's going to even itself out. There we go. Right, so these stencils are a little bit different to the ones that I'll just use for the controller, because I've got no plate for these, no holder. I'm hoping to see one come on the market for these. Hang on. I'll do it like this for now, and then I'll hold it with the tweezers when it's ready to actually flow. So these don't take long at all. These are really easy chips to work with. Shit, no, it's not the correct one, is it? Damn. You're right. You are absolutely right.
Freyhill just resubscribed for 6 months. Good night, greetings from Germany.
Thank you, Freyhill, and good night, mate. Thank you. You are absolutely right. This is not the correct stencil. That's alright. Just clean it off, look. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. I will do it my way, thank you very much. I don't care if Fifi says to do it another way. I will do it the way that I'm used to. And I will be happy. I did it my way. Ah, damn it. The freaking thing's just popcorned on me. That's why I don't like these without the magnets. Don't know if that's going to let me get away with that. I think it might have done. No, some of them are smaller than the others. Stuff it. I'm just going to use balls. Not by hand. I can use a stencil with the solar balls. Yeah, MG Chemical Super Wick, Andrew. Indeed it is. Right. Add a little bit of flux. With a little bit of flux, we can make it through the night. Just a teeny bit. I did it my way. I thought these were 0.45mm balls. Evidently not. I thought they were 0.45s. It's been a while since I reballed these. 0.5mm. That's better. Damn you. To be fair, 0.5mm are a little bit small for this. Let's knock the airflow right the way down. There you go. Right, flux will pull them in. Nah, reboarding's not hard when you get used to it, bud. To be honest, it can be difficult when you first start, but like any skill, it just takes a little bit of practice. A violinist can't play perfectly in key on day one, right? It's the same with anything. All it takes is practice. There you go. Nice shiny balls. I'm going to go down to... I'm going to go 50%. I'm going to go down to 440 degrees Celsius though. I'm going to lower my temperature just in case I need to put this chip back on. Don't want to damage it. Put that to one side. I don't know if I knocked any components then. So I went for a lower temperature just because I don't want to risk any damage to it. I'll just replace this solder with leaded. Make it easier to wick off. One thing you can do to make your life a little bit easier as well is once you've cleaned your iron off, if you just go over it once more, you'll collect up a little bit of the solder. And then that way then you've got less to wick off, which means your wick's not going to fill up as much. Or as quick rather. So your wick won't fill up as quick and get more for your money. I'll go over this with one more pass with the wick. So you can see there is still a little bit of solder on the pads. That will do nicely. And now, replacement SSD. Pin number 1 is in that corner, so that goes that way. Just like that. Will it cause a blood? I don't know, mate. I don't know. We're about to find out though. Right, still at 440, 50% airflow. Okay, that's about ready to sit down. There we go. Hope it doesn't corrupt that married data if there is any. I don't. To be honest, I'm not convinced that these are actually soldered. Sorry, married. I'm going to be honest. I'm not convinced they're married. Yes, we've failed before, but what's to say that the SSD was good from the other donor board last time I tried it? This is attempt number 3, and it's going to be the last time I ever try this. If I can't get this to work with a replacement SSD, I'm never trying it again, because I've already attempted it twice in the past and failed miserably both times. But just the fact that we've replaced the controller and the controller's not married tells me that it's either something I've done wrong or it's just that the SSDs how I actually tried it with were no good. Because it is possible that the SSDs were bad, the ones that I actually tried on it the first 2 times, or it's possible that I just did something wrong. SEC019, that might not work. I might have to replace all 6, just given the fact that it's a different model. But we're going to try it, and we're going to see. I do know that on SEC chips, I did get a Xbox One S to boot with 2 different chips once before. We're about to find out if it boots. Does it boot? So these are different model chips, so we might not get away with this. We're just replacing one. We're about to find out though. Okay, it turns on. So I'm not expecting this to be able to boot into the OS at all. What I want to know is it going to be able to detect an issue with the SSD and boot into safe mode? The SSD is dead. Well, this has come off the same board that the controller came off, so... Okay, that is not going to boot, and it looks like it's not able to detect... Hold on. What's going on here? Why has that gone black screen? Something's happening. It's black screen. Something's happening. It's trying something, and I am getting HDMI detect. It's trying to do something, look. So I've got a blue light on there, which means it's detecting the HDMI. Okay, now it's gone back to no signal. Alright, never mind. Maybe not. Okay, well. Oh. It keeps going black screen. That's interesting. Like it's trying to boot. It keeps detecting a display on the capture card. Turn that off. Turn it on. Yeah, I'm going to try safe mode, yeah. Press and hold the power button. Come on. No, that's not going to go into safe mode. Oh! Or maybe it is. Ho ho ho! Hello, ladies and gents. Or maybe it is. Oh, well, that's why it's detecting black screen. Well, that explains it. Now I know why it's going black screen. It's my HDMI cable. Hang on. My HDMI cable's got flux in it. One moment, senor. Okay. Shit. Oh, I've just splashed myself with IPA. Ugh. I've splashed all my arm and face and everything with IPA. Making me shit my pants. Well. For fuck's sake. Right, I have the USB in. Something went wrong, your console needs to reset to factory defaults. Oh, interesting, hello. I've never seen this screen. Okay, well, reset to factory defaults then, please. What you gonna do? I've never seen that screen. Connect the controller, again. Reinstall, okay. Yeah, I'm assuming that the console's gonna format the SSD.
Proto_3 cheers hits 100. You are the fucking man. Cheers.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate that, mate. Where did the Japanese words go? I've already reinstalled it once with the replacement SSD controller. Right. That's just rebooting. Okay, well, there's the Japanese writing back. What the? It's gone back to Japanese. What the fuck? Dude! Oh, dear. Oh, we got some channel members, look. You got Japanese firmware, yeah. That's alright, man. I don't mind.
Jessica Ryan became a member.
Someone just said, where's the Japanese language? Yeah, it's because I'd already factory reset it, so it was set to English. It's kind of weird how that actually goes back to Japanese. Boom. Boom. It's gone through. Works. That's what I'm talking about. Now we can fix these things. Now we can fix them. Nothing is married to the APU. Hey, Technic. Thank you, dude. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, mate. That's what I'm talking about. The SSD is replaceable. Haha, thank you, dude. D-Proto. Thank you, mate. That's what I'm talking about. Microsoft need to take a lesson from Sony. Yes, I agree. Sony, thank you. Thank you for actually making these SSDs replaceable. Credit where credit is due, right? You can't replace the SSD in a MacBook without doing modifications. You can't replace the SSD in an Xbox Series S or X without cloning the original to get the 1GB partition. But you can replace the SSD on a PS5. Sony have done it right. And credit where credit's due, Sony have done a good thing here. This PS5 is a lot more repairable than we first thought. It's a lot more repairable than we first thought. And the fact that we only need to replace one of those SSD chips, and we can just reformat it and be done with it. Proof's in the pudding, people. The proof is in the pudding. Let's connect it up. Let's log back in. Let's make sure it doesn't ban us. Welcome to PlayStation 5. PlayStation Store. Let's make sure I can download a game. There's all games. Yeah, why not? Let's just download that. As soon as I see that get to 1%, then I'll know it's working, right? You know what? That's downloading. Yeah, that's working fine. It's a win. Yeah, it's installing a game. I need to do more tests. I need to make sure they don't crash or anything like that. Because the model number on the SSD is mismatched. So, yeah, I don't know what could have gone wrong the last 2 times, but it worked this time. 3rd time lucky, baby. Winner in your face, Sony. No, you know what? Not in your face, Sony. It's thank you, Sony. I think you have to give credit where credit is due, and Sony have done something right here by allowing that to be replaced. Like in the past where they've married the disk drive. Yes, the disk drive is married on these. I mean, this one is a digital edition, which means, you know, we haven't got those worries anyway. But, yes, the disk drive is married on these, which, I mean, that is literally for piracy reasons. I understand that. I get why they marry the disk drives. It sucks, but everything else seems to be replaceable. So you can replace just the APU, you can replace just the SSD. I need to do one more test. There's one more chip on here which I need to test and see if it's replaceable. And that is going to be that one. Which I believe is the NOR flash ROM. I need to see if that's replaceable, and if it is, then everything on this board can be replaced apart from the disk drive. The disk drive would be paired to the APU, but other than that, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. That's going to be for another day, because I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. Hey, so this was live streamed for the video's sake. This was live streamed. This has to make a video. Has to make a video. So it was live streamed on Twitch. Check me out, link in the video description, twitch.tv/thecodad2015. This is, as far as I can tell, a world's first. This is the kind of shit we do on this channel. We push hardware to the limits and we see what we can get away with. And we got away with this one. So, yeah, this not only fixed the update issue, but it also proved that once and for all, we know 100% the SSD can be replaced. Thank you, Alex. I really appreciate that, mate.
Alex has just resubscribed for 2 months.
Thank you, buddy. But yeah, we live streaming this on Twitch. 2.5 hours in the making to replace that. It wouldn't take me 2.5 hours if I was doing this off video, off camera. But it turns out that when you've got update issues where it's in an update loop, it can be the SSD controller. And it can show no signs of failing, because when I used a thermal cam on this a couple of weeks ago, when I first bought this board, it... Hey, Epic Rivers, thank you, mate. Yeah, when I first bought this board, it wasn't updating. It was in a boot loop, and it wouldn't accept an update at all. And the thermal camera was showing no signs of overheating or anything like that on the SSD controller. So, yeah, if you've got that issue, try it. If you've got a spare SSD controller and you're able to do it. But yeah, don't forget to like the video if you are watching this back as a video. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you do want to support me, you can head over to Twitch, become a Twitch Prime subscriber by linking an Amazon Prime account to Twitch, and then you can subscribe to me for free on Twitch, which does massively help me out. It allows me to do stuff like this. It is literally the only way I can afford to do stuff like this, because this cost me, I think it was about £100 with import fees and stuff for this board. And every time I do one of these tests, every time I try something like this, I risk killing a board. And I've killed 2 already. I killed 2 boards doing this. This is the 3rd attempt. But this time, luckily, we got away with it. But this one was worth risking because of the update issue anyway. But yeah, it does allow me to do stuff like this. And it allows me to push things to the limit. But yeah, I really do appreciate the people that do support me and allow me to play around and have fun with this sort of stuff. Happy days. Thank you for watching. See you all in the next one.